Hey guys, what's up? It's Zyflin here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a Banshee slash Banshee Prime build that is Steel Path ready for 2021. Banshee is one of the most underrated frames in the entire game because of how squishy she is. She has an amazing damage buffing ability that works basically for your entire team. She's got an amazing crowd control ability, and because the Helm system now exists, we can subsume Gloom onto her in place of her fourth ability to make her a lot more survivable. So what we're going to be doing in today's video is focusing on keeping Banshee sustained with energy and health. And also, we're going to be making use of two of her augment mods, Resonance and Sonic Fracture. So Resonance, if you don't know what it does, it basically allows you to recast Sonar whenever you kill an enemy by shooting one of the weak spots that it paints on the enemies, right? So Sonar is an ability, you cast it and it's going to paint a weak spot on a bad guy, you shoot it and it's going to amplify your damage by a certain number, right? So Resonance, whenever you shoot this painted spot, it's going to cast it again for the remaining duration of your cast, right? So it's really strong for just constantly painting Sonar targets or weak spots onto enemies and making them like completely blue or whatever your energy color happens to be just lit up, so the entire enemy's body is a weak spot. It's really cool whenever you're just killing a bunch of enemies, right? And on top of that, we're also using Sonic Fracture. So because of the build that we're running and how much power strength we have on, this is going to completely strip away all of the enemy's armor, right? So we have an armor strip, a damage buffing ability, and one of the best crowd control abilities in the game in the form of Silence. So how Silence works, I'm going to show you guys this. So I'm going to spawn in some enemies here. How Silence works is whenever you activate it, right, the enemies are going to get stunned. They're going to go through this animation right here, right? But then whenever the animation ends, they're going to be okay. So what we have to do is we have to walk away from them and then go back over to them, and then they're going to be stunned again. So it's worth it to run a low range on Banshee. I wouldn't recommend going over 145% or 140%, whatever, because if you have too much range, then Silence isn't going to be as good as it can be. I personally like to run 100%. Simply because we're using Resonance, so that is going to be good for casting, Sonar across multiple enemies until the duration runs out, and then we have to recast it again. Or you can just spam your Resonance, right? We have a decent amount of efficiency here, 130%, and we're going to be using the likes of Energizing Dash and Equilibrium, Arcane Energize to sustain our energy anyway, right? So Equilibrium just exists so then, we can pick up our what's it called, our orbs, our health orbs and whatnot, and get energy orbs and get health, which is really nice. And then we also have energy conversion on here. So energy orb grants 50% more ability strength to your next cast, which doesn't actually get accounted for whenever you look at the stats here, but it's going to buff up the amount of damage that our Sonar is going to increase our damage by, right? So that's really nice as well. So we have Prime Continuity on here for duration, Streamline for efficiency, Umbral Intensify for our power strength, Ruling Guard so we can stay alive, which is really nice as well, Energy Conversion for more power strength, Equilibrium for sustain, Resonance for, its effect, Sonic Fracture for the armor strip, and then we have Prime Surefoot on here so we can use explosive weapons like the Kuva Brahma, the Kuva Zar. Brief Respite, this is used to utilize shield gating, right? So if you didn't know, whenever you have a shield, if you take fatal damage, so like damage that is greater than the number of your shield, it's going to completely deplete your shield, right? It's not going to one-shot you, and you're going to get a brief period of invulnerability, which is really nice, right? So that's why we're running that. So then whenever we cast an ability, we get a little bit of our shields back, which is awesome. Arcane Energize for sustain, Arcane Strike for more melee attack speed, but you can swap this out for anything that tickles your pickle. And then whenever it comes to our weapons, you can do what you want whenever it comes to the Steel Path, but the build that I'm going to be running in this video is a viral Kuvazar, so 100 munitions for the slash procs on crit, Prime Cryo to make the viral, Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Galvanized Scope for more critical chance on headshot, Prime Firestorm to increase the blast radius. We have Primed Being of Corrupted for multiplicative bonus, Vital Sense for critical damage, and critical delay for more critical chance. Primary Merciless basically acts like Serration, so we don't need to worry about that, and Vigilante Supplies for some ammo sustain. On top of that, I'm running the Epitaph. The Epitaph is a really important part of this build because it actually has cold procs, and that is going to help us out with the slow that we're going to be getting from Silence and the slow from silence. We get a slow from gloom, and then the stun animation from silence, right? So we use gloom, and that is going to slow the enemies by 50%. And then because of the cold proc, it's going to make them even slower as well. So we're running viral and heat on here. So frostbite, pistol pestilence for viral, lethal torrent for multi-shot and fire rate. We've got augur seeker on there for more status duration, prime fulmination for more blast radius, sure shot for more status chance, scorch for heat, and then amalgam bar diffusion for dodge speed, which helps with our rolling guard, and also a little bit more multi-shot. And then reflex draw, you don't have to worry too much about this, but it just makes you holster it faster. Secondary dexterity, you can swap this out for whatever you want, but I like running secondary dexterity because it gives me 7.5 seconds more combo duration, which is really nice because this is a primer build for your secondary. You're not actually using that to deal damage. And then we have my Croonin Prime right here. You can use any melee weapon that has mainly slash damage and copy this build, and then it's going to work just fine with the either the Kuvan Yukor and this build on your melee weapon, or the Epitaph and this build on your melee weapon, right? So Condition Overload for more melee damage, Blood Rush for critical chance, then we have Weeping Wounds for more status chance, Organ Shatter for crit damage, Prime Smite Corrupted for multiplicative bonus, Prime Reach for more reach, Gladiator Might for enhanced crits, Berserker Fury for more attack speed. You can swap this out for like something different, like let's say Shatter and Impact, for example, if you really wanted to. And then of course your stance, it's going to depend on the melee weapon that you're running, but here in the Croonin, I like using Sovereign Outcast because it is my favorite stance. Another tip, Panzer Vulpaphyla, forced viral procs, which is really nice, or you could run any Sentinel and then equip the, what's it called, mods? I'm just going to go to my Jin here, the Vigilante mods on here to enhance the crits off your primary weapon as well. I prefer running the Vulpaphyla because it essentially never dies. The Jin has a mod which allows it to revive itself, but it is a very long cooldown, right? So the Vulpaphyla is just, you know, dead and back and dead and back and dead and back constantly. So that's why I prefer the Vulpaphyla. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate our Gloom. We're going to activate our Silence. We're going to bring out our Epitaph, and look how slow that stun animation from silences on this enemy. It is kind of insane, right? So this allows us to basically stay alive as Banshee and just go to town with our melee weapon, right? And let's say there's an enemy that is really tanky. We just use our one, and they're gonna have their armor removed, so we can just go to town on them again and you know, deal a ton of damage. It's kind of a nutty build, and that is like, we didn't even use resonance there, and look how much damage we're dealing. It's crazy the amount of damage that Banshee is able to dish out now. So, and the fact that she can keep herself alive. So here we are, we're applying all of our procs, and we're look how fast they die, man. It's not even funny. It's genuinely not even funny. Like, Banshee is just absolutely nuts now. It's crazy. So that is a endgame Banshee build. You subsume Gloom from Sevagoth onto her fourth ability because her fourth ability is pretty lackluster. You can use the one as an armor strip. You use the Gloom in conjunction with Silence and the Epitaph with the Force Cold procs, and bad guys just they disappear, man. They are gone. The other thing we can do is we can use our Kuvazar. I'm just going to go ahead and swap to my Jin just to show you guys these enhanced crits because everybody likes to see that. So let's go ahead and do that. Throw them on. And we spawn in more of the bad guys. We do the same thing. We use our 4. We use our 3. We spam our 2 a little bit because why not? And we go to this mode right here. Look at that. That's nuts. Look at that red crit. Look at those red crits. You see that? They just get one tapped, my guy. Like, they're gone. And if we armor strip as well, we gotta wait for them to stand back up. Well, actually, never mind. No, we don't. You know, turn your around, show me your head. Bye-bye. We reload. Bye-bye. 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 It's actually nuts. So you can go pretty deep into a Steel Path mission with this build. You can go to level 9,999 in Disruption if you really wanted to. Again, the only thing that you have to be careful of is how squishy Banshee actually is. So make sure that your Gloom is always active. Make sure that your Silence is always active. And to make the most out of your damage dealing potential, make sure to always be recasting your sonar. And then whenever there's an enemy which you really can't kill, like Demolus, for example, make sure to strip the armor with the one. Of course, it might knock them over, but you can just follow them and headshot them if that's the case. So yeah, that is Banshee Prime. Banshee, doesn't really matter which one it is. In a nutshell, she's crazy strong now. Like, finally, she's like in the spotlight. She's really good. If you enjoyed this video, guys, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe. Consider checking out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. It gets you early access to all of my videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.